in northeastern India, the little state of Manipur stands at the crossroads of cultures, flowing from Southeast Asia down to the mainland of India, and with several traditions converging, the rich traditions of the hill tribes in the low hills that surround Manipur, and also from the tribes of the plains, as also the rich tradition of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, which came into the state from neighboring Bengal. Right in the heart of this melting pot of cultures, in the heart of its villages, or rather one simple, normal village, one discovers a heavenly place, a whole paradise of creativity in the nest that Ratan Thiyam has created in the Chorus Repertory Company. Ratan Thiyam has come a long way from Ucheklang Medong, the first Ratan Thiyam play that I saw in the early 80s. But it's not just a question of doing new plays, more exciting plays over the years. What Ratan has done, as you can see, he has created a whole new space which is rooted in Manipur, the culture of Manipur, the different forms, the different plants, the whole nature of Manipur come into play in this very special space which is Ratan's making. Once you are in that space, you realize how theatre can grow out of a space historically defined, naturally significant and meaningful. Ratan brings together here his artists who stay here as a community, sharing not just theatre experience, but ideas, knowledge, food, and the wonderful nature, the wonderful sounds that Manipur bears in its history and its tradition. All these go into the making of a theatre that looks so exciting when it travels outside Manipur and bears the unmistakable mark of this locale. That is Ratan's special power, and for that one has to come to Manipur, to the space that he has created. A poet and painter in his own right, Ratan Thyam has never been satisfied with the little space that he has created himself. All his life, he has sought to extend the space, stretch out to other spaces, other areas in theatre, in cultures, in lives. In the posters that he assembles in this beautiful classroom, he brings the whole world of theatre into play and life and interaction. Different traditions mingle and merge with the rich wood sculptures which are an integral part of the Manipuri folk and tribal imagination. In this space, classroom space, his own actors, as well as visiting theatre people from all over Manipur, would assemble and feel the presence of all these theatres of the world breathing upon them, allowing them a larger, wider, richer, and far more complex theatrical space.
Being a son of the great dance guru Ojha Tarun Kumar and his wife Vilasini Devi, Ratan Thyam has natural advantage. The gift that he got from his parents about the sensibilities about dance, music, even the martial arts, he has dovetailed all these arts into his productions. Therefore, when we see his theatre, which is a very individual theatre of Ratan Thyam, we find that there are no joints, but everything appears to be very natural. There is certain seamlessness that we see in his productions, whether he draws inspiration from Kartal Cholom or Pung Cholom or the Ras Lila or Vari Liba. All these traditional dance forms or theatre forms, ballad singing forms, they find a natural linkage in his theatre, and therefore we find that saying is also very true. Gitam cha vadyam cha nrityam cha trayam sangeetam uchyate, and we find one more additional dimension in his production, that is of theatre, natya, and therefore these great gifts and advantages he has put into his theatre in a more meaningful manner, which gives us great delight, not only as a visual spectacle, but we can call it what Kalidasa has said, that it is Drashya Kavya.
The Chorus Repertory Theatre was established here in the year 1976 in the easternmost part of the country a little bit away from Imphal. It all started with a group of very enthusiastic young theatre workers gathering for different workshops and discussing the matter, discussing the provision of making a repertory company. When I came back from National School of Drama, I thought that with this workshop, I may come up with a repertory company. And that's how I took all the young theatre workers, discussed with them, and we started with a salary of rupees 40 per month for each and every artist, because it has to be little bit professional like group. But gradually, we started doing a lot of works which were very much to do with many of the norms of experimentation, particularly interaction between traditional performing art forms and the contemporary theatre. After coming with a journey of many years, the Chorus Repertory Theatre was able to have its own space of performance, where we have done quite a lot of productions, and then for the last few years we have been doing productions like Blind Age, Uttar Priyadarshi, Hiroshima, and so on. One of our productions which gave us a boost to the economics of this repertory was Chakravyuh. And this Chakravyuh was responsible for bringing us to the international platform. So after Chakravyuh, though earlier we started giving performances abroad with classical Indian theatre productions like Urubhangam, but Chakravyuh was in almost many of the international theatre festivals. And after Chakravyuh, we started learning more about experimentation and learning more about the kind of work that we should carry out in the next many years. So Chakravyuh was a very important phase of our repertory company. Now you see that when you look around this repertory, you'll find trees, you find birds, you find flowers, you find gardens, many things put together which are very close to the nature. The actors, I always felt that should be close to the nature, and that's why we need a good surrounding without pollution. So we planted many trees in the last many years also. We cook here, we eat here, we sleep here, according to the situation, according to the demand of the production. At least 2 months in a year, and particularly in the winter, we live together. For the last many years, say about 12 years, we have been concentrating because my mind always was very disturbed with what is happening around, and particularly with war. So I started thinking about doing theatre for peace.
사긋적이버니 녹친 떠나이 교회 아이 싸기 보이나 아이 극적 기버 신체 아이 못다이고 내기도 막더니 동인들의 비바 거리기로 인고 이마가 다이쇼 외도 마시 운시다한 보이나 파우락 내온다 샤티바 제일까야 만들기 미신가 pomegabado 남비 그럼나 인나힌 프라노바 또사 손기 못하박다기 이리풋 보르큰 그다기 그럼나 미롱직한 거와 뱀나
This is actually the first time that I'm visiting the Chorus Repertory Theatre. Over the last many years, particularly the last decade, I have been familiar with the Chorus Repertory Theatre's work in terms of production, experimentation and performance, and I've had a great deal of respect for the productions. But once I arrived here and I've been able to see for myself how the repertory is functioning, I must say that it certainly stands as an example, not only in this country, but perhaps comparable to any of the best in the world, at least among the institutions of world theatre which I have seen, which perhaps aren't very many. The thing which excites me most about the possibilities which this repertory has are two things. First, that there is a depth of vision and a wide range of experimentation which make their productions adequate statements on the quality of their work. Added to that is the complete dedication and commitment, not to the repertory but to theatre as a whole, of every member of the repertory. The levels of experimentation are well known, particularly in plays like Uttar Pradarshi, Chakravyuh, and lastly Andha Yug, which I think is a remarkable production because for the first time I have seen a production of Andha Yug which is able to achieve what the playwright, that is Dharamir Bharti, would have liked to do. That is to relate it to the contemporary situation in which the world finds itself today. I've seen many productions of the play, but none of them come anywhere close to living out this expectation of the playwright.
미신을 마시길래 무시해나 또래요 날고 풀어야가 바바이랬다 밀뜨기 비랑 비로이나보다 모르니게 묵태계길래 용세 내 하나발린 농깨니가 이렇고 이러고 못태계지가 이러네 마시노가 이게 통모쇼 까나되게 까는 거 통나로구나 이뻐하고 땀티를 하치비길라면 아이는 공공공공하게 고마웠다 앞뒤를 펑펑 땀티를 왜 까이를 하트래 유대인들이 딱 터져도 무슨 거구나 유대인들이 딱 터져도 무슨 거구나 어떤 거는 우리 손에 알아 뭐라 할게 나라보다 끈자 미가 샤고 키를 듣기니 많아 너네 어떻게 있어 샤 이렇게 Mitra utang tibelam sa. Naside. Aisho. Amamba. Sunung masida. Tire.
Man's dreams seldom come out to be true. Here I say, Ratan Thyam's dream of having a theatre of his own has been actualized tremendously. This plot of land is owned by his Chorus Repertory Theatre. That wonderful theatre house has been constructed by Chorus, along with a few cottages, huts, sheds, a few flower beds, all scattered all over the plot of land. For doing all this, Ratan has not depended on any support, financial or otherwise, from outside, national or international. He has done all this by his own earnings from theatrical performances done during last 25 years.
Running a repertory company without much of the help from the state government, we have nil in that case. We don't have any help from the state government, but we do have some subsidy, some grant from the Ministry of Culture, from the center. But it is very difficult to survive. And you know that nowadays how costly affair it is just to lead a life, a normal life for a common people. the economics of Indian theatre has never worked in the last 50 years after independence. I think many of the things has been developed in India in many aspects, but I don't think theatre economics has developed. And that's why what I feel is that we need a National Theatre Development Corporation in the line of National Film Development Corporation.
Mitra